What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, got a fun double fighter team bringing out Skarmory, which is now the #1 ranked Pokemon in the Great League, and also Poliwrath with the new Icy Wind and Scald update, and I'm also running it with Mudshot as a safe swap. Really spicy mix-up and takes a lot of people by surprise. We also have Medicham there with Dynamic Punch instead of Psychic to see how that plays out. Let me know what you guys think about this team, a kind of traditional ABB double fighter team, but with the flyers or the most common counters to Poliwrath being stuff like Talonflame and Skarmory and Gligar. Poliwrath can handle those, Scald and Icy Wind. So, hope you guys enjoy, and let's go and get right into it. Alright, getting into the first battle. Lantern on the lead. I'm sure a lot of you in the comments are wondering. I do swap into Poliwrath right away because it forces them to make a hard decision. Do they stay in against the against my Poliwrath, which puts more distance for my Skarmory, or do they swap? And in this case, they decided to swap into Talonflame, which I think is going to be a mistake for them. We do get the attack drop. We're going to go ahead and go for Icy Wind. And remember, this is a mud shot Poliwrath, so we gain energy very, very quickly as we are able to get both shields from my opponent right away. We're going to go ahead and give up a shield here as it is going to be the fly. I didn't want to get KO'd by that. They're going to go ahead and go for the second one, which is fine. I should be able to get a couple more mud shots, maybe 2 mud shots here on the next Incinerate. So there's 1, there's 2, and I go for the Scald. This should be enough to KO. We've got Switch now, which is huge. Boom! Down goes the Talonflame. In comes the Lantern. We're going to go ahead and go for Scald now just to do some chip damage. Should probably be going for Icy Winds now looking back at this because we do get an attack drop there. But 2 Icy Winds I think would have been better, the double debuff, as we're going to go ahead and come in with Medicham now. So this charge move would have done a lot less damage had I gone for double Icy Wind. So Thunderbolt, not enough to cause damage to us. Vigoroth comes in, so we're going to go ahead and load up on energy and swap on 5, catching the Body Slam here on the Skarmory, which is huge. And now we have a great win condition in front of us as we won't throw a charge move here against Vigoroth. The play is to basically let Vigoroth KO us as they go ahead and go for Rock Slide because my Medicham can then come in and farm down with counter and go for Dynamic Punch. So I'm just going to go ahead and commit to the farm down. They decide to throw, which is fine by me as they do need to take me out. And we're going to go ahead and counter down, and then we have a Dynamic Punch ready to go for the Lantern here. Now, this is where actually, it's a give or take, the added Scald damage might have paid off, as you guys are going to see right here. Maybe the double Icy Wind does a bit more. Who knows? But overall, pretty nice safe swap as we do survive the Thunderbolt, and we counter down with 1 HP and a Dream. Good battle. Alright, moving into the next one, we got a Skarmory Mirror right here. So we're going to go ahead and stay in. The Mirror is back, everyone. It is back, and it is almost as bad as the last time. But Steel Wing, I think, is a bit better because of the damage that it's doing here as opposed to Air Slash. So we're going to go ahead and let this go. It is going to be a Sky Attack, which is fine. We're going to look to go for our own Sky Attack now, and then we're going to look to go for Brave Bird. But we'll have to see what my opponent decides to do as they go ahead and go for the charge move, which is fine. This is going to be the Brave Bird, which we do survive. And now we can fire right back. They are debuffed dramatically. So this is going to KO them, obviously. And boom! Our first Brave Bird boom of the day. We swap into Swampert here, or swap into Poliwrath. I wanted to save the Skarmory for a sacrificial swap later on. Now, Swampert coming in, obviously we're going to be debuffing with Icy Winds. That's a massive amount of damage. And a Sableye comes in, which is huge. And I want you guys to take a notice that there is no return. There's no purified aura around this Sableye. We get the attack drop with Scald as well. And Poliwrath is putting in work. And because it is purified, this is either going to be Foul Play, Shadow Sneak, or Power Gem, none of which is going to KO. It is going to be Foul Play. We resist because of our fighting typing. And now Poliwrath with Mudshot and Icy Wind. It was a very spicy combination, everyone, and it did incredibly well for me today. As Swampert's going to go ahead and come back in. And that's going to be a good game, right? We got Medicham in the back with counter. And we're gonna be taking this one as Medicham can come in and just fast move down. So that is going to be a good game to my opponent. Honestly, I think the Mud Shot Poliwrath threw everyone off. I know PV Poke says counter, and had I not been running Medicham, I would run counter and not have it be a safe swap, right? But as a safe swap, Mud Shot is very, very spicy and very good. Good game. All right, moving into the next one, we have Shadow Swampert here on the lead. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out into Poliwrath, and we do draw out a Shadow Poliwrath right here. So we're going to go ahead and go for Scald. Now, the Shadow Poliwrath is doing quite a bit of damage with counter, as they have that fast move. We do get the attack drop, though. And now we're going to look to go for Icy Wind here. Maybe they have Dynamic Punch, but I'm going to let it go. It is going to be Scald, which is fine. We survived that. And I don't think we got a debuff there as well, so I'm going to go ahead and go for the Icy Wind now to apply another debuff to my opponent. We get a shield as well, which is huge. And unfortunately, I can't get to this next Icy Wind in time, so I have to come in with Skarmory and look to load up on energy. They will be able to go for basically back-to-back charge moves here, and unfortunately, Steel Wing is resisted because of that water typing. So we're just going to go ahead and let them throw the back-to-back. I don't think I can farm down in time before a third charge move, so what I'm going to do actually is counter swap now into Medicham to get the fast move down, to keep that stored energy on Skarmory. In comes a Swampert, and this was something I was suspecting with Swampert and a Poliwrath, that they maybe had an anti-flyer in the back potentially, or it was Skarmory. I was reading one like he was Skarmory or something like Bastiodon or Registeel or Galarian Stunfisk, something like that, just because of how this is shaken up. So I'm gonna go ahead and look to shield the next Hydro Cannon here, as the Ice Punch now, CMP tie, should be enough damage to take out the Swampert, and then we're going to see what their final Pokemon was, and it is going to be Registeel, which is huge. So Dynamic Punch right here, massive for this matchup. Absolutely flips this matchup on its head. Otherwise, I think I would be losing this game, but Dynamic Punch just does so much damage. Then we're going to go ahead and swap out into Skarmory now to catch the charge move to add insult to injury right here. And they decide to undercharge the Zap Cannon, so we're going to fire right back with a Brave Bird to take out Registeel. Welcome back to the meta, Skarmory. Boom! Takes out Registeel, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving into the next one, Skarmory versus Greninja on the lead. So not a good lead. I'm going to go ahead and swap out right away into Poliwrath, which, unless they have Aerial Ace, is going to be resisting all the moves. In comes a Skarmory. This is a great matchup to see, everyone. Skarmory right here. We do neutral damage with Icy Wind and Scald, so we're going to be getting to those very quickly. We resist the fast move as well, so we're going to apply the double Icy Wind debuff already before any Sky attacks can come through. And I can easily let this go. This isn't going to KO me, unless I don't even think a Brave Bird would KO. Yeah, it's just going to be Sky Attack, which we do survive. Maybe actually Brave Bird would probably still KO, to be honest. And now we're going to look to go for Scald here, hoping that this actually is enough neutral damage to knock out the Skarmory. So let's see if it is. They let it go through, barely, not enough. We get another attack drop, but I'm going to go ahead and shield and look to take Switch, as obviously I want my Medicham aligned to the Greninja, and we are going to be able to farm down. Now let's see what they decide to come in with. It is going to be the Greninja, so we're going to try to go for Icy Wind, but they throw the charge move right away, which is fine. Hydro Cannon or Night Slash, I think both KO. It is going to be Hydro Cannon. And now we come in with Medicham right away, and we're looking very good. They swap into Clodsire, and that's a good game. I'm going to go ahead and go for the Ice Punch here to apply some chip damage and just make it a bit more cozy for Skarmory to safely come in. But ultimately, this Clodsire isn't going to be able to do a thing. So that is going to be a good battle, very well played. Alright, moving into the next one, Skarmory versus Vigoroth on the lead. So we have two really good answers in the back, but ultimately I'm going to have to see how much damage Rock Slide is going to be doing, but I decided to swap out into Poliwrath, hoping to catch the Rock Slide. Let's see if we caught it. I came in early, I think, but we still caught the resisted charge move, so that is huge. They counter swap, and Talonflames. Now, had this been counter Poliwrath, right? For me, if I was running counter, Talonflame does a lot better against that. But Mudshot is not a matchup that Talonflame should be swapping into, as we can go ahead and shield, as they're going to go and they're going to go for Brave Bird here. So that is huge. That tells me they don't have Fly. They would have thrown it otherwise. So now we're going to go ahead and go for another Scald. I should be going for Icy Winds right here, to be honest. It's a bit less energy. But ultimately, we're gonna be taking this mid game very easily, as they're gonna go ahead and go for the next Brave Bird most likely, and then I'm just gonna load up a little bit extra on a little bit more on some energy here, and then we go for the Scald. Now they're double debuff from Brave Bird, no shield. Scald is booming this whole family tree. Boom! Down it goes, in comes Vigoroth, and I get a bit greedy and try to go for Scald when I should have just gone for Icy Wind right there. That was a misplay on my end. This is learning this Pokemon, right? Mudshot and Icy Wind. Could have gone for the Icy Wind there, but we come in with Medicham, obviously. They counter swap into Frostlass, so I'm going to build up Dynamic Punch and then swap out into Skarmory because I do have a Brave Bird ready to go. Shadow Ball, Avalanche, Triple Axle, all of it I survive. It is going to be Triple Axle. And then we go for Brave Bird here, so this is going to be KOing the Frostlass, an incredible amount of damage. Boom! Actually, almost KO'd, but Steel Wing takes it out, and then Vigoroth is going to be going down as well. They have to throw. If I get to Sky Attack, it's game over, but ultimately it's a checkmate situation, right? Because I can go for Dynamic Punch now that I banked and take out the Vigoroth, so that is going to be a good game. Very well played. This team was very fun to use, pretty flexible as well. And Poliwrath, really interesting safe swap in this meta. All right, moving to the next one. We have another Lantern team. So we're going to go ahead and swap out right away into Poliwrath here. My opponent is deciding to stay in, which is fine, but I go for Scald and a Gligar comes in. And this was it's good, right? We still do super effective damage, but it's unfortunate because I could have gotten away with a free Icy Wind, which is less energy and more damage because it's double super effective, and it applies the debuff. So we're going to go ahead and go for Icy Wind. Maybe, I guess, I don't know which actually does more, an Icy Wind or a Scald. I would think Icy Wind does more, but to be honest, Scald might as well. So we're going to go ahead and shield it. It's going to be Dig. I'm curious why they didn't go for Aerial Ace there, so I'm just going to go ahead and go for another Icy Wind to look to take it out. But this is where I get into some trouble. Even though I took Switch, I don't have a hard answer to Lantern, right? It's not like I have a Superior in the back. So I got to come in with Medicham, and this Lantern is pretty far ahead on energy. So the Thunderbolt here, or the Surf, is going to do quite a bit. So now, I don't know what they have in the back. My guess is Double Flyer. I'm hoping it's not a Talonflame. I'm hoping like it's a Skarmory Mirror or something like that. As I'm just going to load up on energy and look to go for an Ice Punch Shield Bait and hope that I can get to Dynamic Punch, but I don't think I'll get there in time. So this is looking to be a good game as they do Shield, and I don't get to another charge move, unfortunately. So in comes Skarmory. I have to shield this charge move. There is a potential win con if they're weak in the back, right? Because I might be able to survive a Thunderbolt, but it's going to be Umbreon in the back. And now, this is a tough one. I think they still have it. I should be able to survive 2 foul plays, and the only way I can come out of this in a win con potential is being able to double Brave Bird or near double Brave Bird, right? So that's what I'm going to look to do. Oh man, it's so dicey because I have to go based off of the energy, and I also have to judge how much health I need remaining in order to potentially win this game with Brave Bird, because I got to, so this is where I'm gonna throw, but I do 1 extra fast move. I think I should have gone for Brave Bird right there, but then I think I get farmed down anyways by Lantern. So either way, good game, very well played to my opponent. Wish I could have gone for Icy Winds against Gligar right away. All right, moving to the next one, we have another Skarmory. Now, I wanted to see what happens, because we saw what Poliwrath did before, I want to see what happens if I just blind swap Poliwrath into the Skarmory. It forces them to stay in. Maybe they're weak in the back to Skarmory, and we'll have to see. So, we're decided to stay in this matchup. Obviously, Sky Attack is going to do super effective damage, same with Brave Bird, so I will give up a shield here. Sky Attack does get blocked, and then we're going to look to go for Scald now. hoping for the debuff and just do quite a bit of neutral damage. It does land, and unfortunately we don't get a shield from my opponent, so they will decide to throw the charge move. I'm going to let this go, but it's going to be a Brave Bird. Boom! Down goes my Poliwrath. That is very unfortunate. I'm going to come in with Medicham right here and look to load up on energy, hoping that they decide to stay in. They counter swap into Whiscash. Okay, so now my thought process here is that maybe they're running something like a Swampert and a Whiscash in the back. So I got to keep Medicham alive, obviously. I'm going to go for Ice Punch to get a shield bait right there. I'm going to let this charge move go through. It's either going to be Scald or Mud Bomb, most likely. It is going to be the Scald, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and load back up. My attack dropped as well, so I got to swap into Skarmory now and just use Skarmory to soak as much energy as possible. Remember, their Skarmory is low. Steel Wing doesn't do that much damage to Medicham. And then we don't know what their third Pokemon is, but they're staying in with Whiscash right here. We saw how much damage Scald did, so we can easily survive this next one. There's no threat to my to getting KO'd. Now I'm going to go ahead and go for Sky Attack, which is going to be a threat here to the Whiscash. So we'll have to see how they decide to react. They decide to shield. So now I'm concerned there could be a Grass type in the back. They come in with their own Skarmory, so I have to throw a Sky Attack here and then look to get into Medicham. And hopefully there's no hard answer as well to Medicham in the back, but we'll find out. Here we go. It's actually going to be a Vigoroth, so I'm going to go ahead and load up on energy. I go for Dynamic Punch, but I went for it late. This was so unfortunate for me. I have to shield, so... Oh, man. I messed up, but I'm going to recover. I'm going to undercharge this to nice. You want to know why? Because it doesn't KO. I can farm down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get the farm down, and I have Dynamic Punch ready for the Whiscash, which also I believe had a charge move when we win CMP tie. So that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Boom. Down goes the Whiscash. Close one right there. I almost threw that. Almost threw that one. Good game. Alright, moving into the final battle here, we have Haunter on the lead. Haven't seen this Pokemon in a long time. Very, very cool. An OG Pokemon along with Skarmory. This is what, if you guys are curious what Pokemon Go PvP looked like in 2019, this sums it up right here for the regional tournament. Skarmory and Haunter. If you guys were there for that and competed in those Silpharina regionals, Haunter, I think I used both of these Pokemon. I definitely used Haunter on my team. I can't remember if I used Skarmory, but Skarmory was top of the meta too. Haunter was very good back in the day. It was a big counter to Medichams. So we take it out here on the lead. A Medicham does come in, so I'm going to go ahead and go for the Brave Bird, forcing the final shield or getting a KO, and then I'm going to be counter swapping into Poliwrath here to get ahead on energy, and we draw out a Meganium. So this is going to be an interesting end game here, as Meganium takes quite a bit of damage from Icy Wind, but it's not enough where 2 take it out. So I decide to risk it and think I can survive, but I don't. I barely can't get to the next Icy Wind. I gotta come in with Medicham right now and look to counter it down, or at least hope to get it extremely low before I get hit with 2 Frenzy Plants. I'm going to have to obviously shield 1 Frenzy Plant. I think this is the hardest hitting move left in the game. Even if the opponent has Psychic, I think Frenzy Plant is the hardest one. So I'm going to go ahead and go for Ice Punch now to KO the Meganium. And then it's going to be a battle of the Medichams here. And we'll have to see what they're running. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep loading up on energy. They decide to throw a charge move, and we're going to see what it is right here. It is going to be Power Up Punch. Okay, so now I'm very concerned about a Power Up Punch, Ice Punch combination. So I'm going to go ahead and go for my own Ice Punch, and then I'm going to look to swap to catch the charge move on my Skarmory. So here we go. I'm going to swap. We catch the charge move, which is huge. This is so much energy caught if it is Ice Punch, but it's not. It's another power-up punch. Things are not looking good. Dynamic Punch doesn't KO. I think 2 Ice Punches do. So I'm desperately going to try to get to that. Here we go. Get to the next one. I lose. CMP tie to my opponent, unfortunately. And this Ice Punch is now going to KO me. Boom. That is going to be a good game. Very well played to my opponent. This team overall, was actually really fun to use. I think Poliwrath running with Mudshot as a safe swap is very interesting in this meta, because you guys got to take a look at what are the top flyers in the meta right now. It is going to be Skarmory, Talonflame, and Gligar. Poliwrath with Mudshot on the safe swap can handle all of those. It actually puts so much pressure. So actually I had really fun with this team. Lantern is obviously troublesome. So you could run something in place of Medicham that does a bit better. Maybe you run a Whiscash, for example. That would do a bit better there in terms of the coverage with Mudshot and Mud Bomb. Maybe you run Toxicroak, Counter, and Mud Bomb, and the new Shadow Ball. There's other options out there for you. I just want to try Dynamic Punch at Medicham. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.